starting lineups, record predictions, and is Carmelo Anthony going to be in that purple and gold on opening night? You guys have a ton of questions for me, so today on Lakers Report by Chat Sports, all things Lakers, we're going to be answering those questions. Now, in the first video, we have a part 1 to this Q&A mailbag question. I answered all of the questions that you guys sent me on my Instagram, and today we're going to be tackling the Twitter questions. We have some really good ones here, so let's get into it. But before you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that you do not miss a single second when it comes to our Los Angeles Lakers. And while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on my Instagram at Hannah Kulik and my Twitter at Hannah_Kulik to keep up with all things fitness and Lakers, of course. Obviously, I'm Laker Han. Now let's get into some of these questions. All right, kicking off our mailbag Q&A Twitter edition today. Our first question is from @ZoNikeSeason, and he asks, will we make the finals? I definitely think we can. I mean, obviously the Western Conference and just the entire NBA in general is going to be really exciting. You know, for the first time in a long time, this is the most balanced the NBA has been. There are multiple teams, especially in that Western Conference. There really are about 7 teams that I could see, you know, being the top team in the West and obviously making it into the finals. But I think the Lakers have just as good of a shot as any, truly. I think they are at least a top 3, definitely a top 5, but I believe even a top 3 seed in that Western Conference. I mean, we have AD, we have LeBron, 2 of the best players in the league. We have Kyle Kuzma, who I'm expecting is going to have a big season. We have a lot of talented role players, the deepest roster we've had in years. So obviously, I think that we could have a very successful season, definitely making the finals. Of course, there are a lot of things that attribute to that: health, you know, chemistry. But if everything goes according to plan, all the players are healthy, and we play like how I'm predicting we are, I definitely think we could see our Los Angeles Lakers in the finals. But I'm curious, do you think the Lakers could make it into the finals this year? If you do, type Y down below. If not, type N down below. Now let's move on to our next question. Okay, next question is from @Cammy1975. It says, what will happen if AD dips after 1 or 2 seasons and Zoe and BI blow up? Well, I mean, I guess you can't fully predict anything. I don't know. I would be very shocked if Anthony Davis all of a sudden after 1 or 2 seasons dipped down and wasn't a good player. I think he's going to be one of the best players to ever play, if not the best player in the league in a couple of years. He's just 26. He's going to be entering his prime. So I would be shocked if he was, you know, dipping down and not as good as he's been. And obviously, you know, I'm wishing the best for Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. I think those 2 players, if they're healthy, are going to be able to have long, really successful careers. But I would be pretty darn shocked if AD all of a sudden, you know, after 1-2 years was not good and Zoe and BI were much better than him. I think Anthony Davis in 1 or 2 years is going to be the best player in the league just in general. Laker Metropolis wants to know, what do you think of AD being the focal point for the Lakers? I think it's a great thing. I mean, I think obviously, you know, LeBron James knows he's kind of nearing the end of his career. He knows AD, like I mentioned before, is going to be entering his prime. So he knows that the smartest thing for this team in order to be successful, in order to put themselves in that position to win the NBA championship this season and the season after that, is to have Anthony Davis be the focal point. And I'm really excited about it. You guys, I don't think we're giving AD enough credit. You know, he is one of those guys. He's 6'10", but he is such a versatile player. He can be a great ball handler, obviously a terrific scorer, an amazing defender. So I think Anthony Davis is, like I just said, you know, previously, I think he could easily be the best player in the league, if not even this season, but in the next couple of seasons. He's just entering his prime. So I'm very happy that AD is the focal point for the Lakers. I think that that puts us in the best position to have success for the future. @JSway52 wants to know, why did Dwight choose 39? It's such an odd jersey number. I don't know why he chose that number. I honestly, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't care what number he is as long as he has a good season. I actually believe that Dwight Howard could be the X factor for the Lakers, because if he plays, you know, 70%, even maybe even 65% of what he did at the height of his career, man, the Lakers have that secret X factor in Howard. So I don't really care what number he has. I know it's kind of a random number, but as long as he has a good season for us, it's drama free. He accepts this kind of new role. I don't care what number he's wearing. All right, this next question, I knew there was gonna be one of these. @AlanPow102 wants to know, if the Lakers are granted the injury exception for Boogie, who is your ideal replacement out of these available players? Carmelo Anthony, Kenneth Faried, Joakim Noah, or maybe even Dwayne Wade? Okay, well, first of all, and I know I talked about this in part 1, I think Dwayne Wade, that's just a rumor, you guys. Media, fans blowing everything out of proportion. So I think that in terms of those other players, let's just not even include Dwayne Wade. I think that would be so far-fetched, so crazy if it happens. I'm not saying 100% it's not, but I just think that is the likelihood of that happening is very, very, very slim. So out of Carmelo Anthony, Kenneth Faried, and I think the other one was Joakim Noah. Yeah, Joakim Noah. I'm going to go with Carmelo. You know, I think Melo is a guy that coming off the bench, playing 15, 20 minutes, being the opportunity to just score the ball, have the ball in his hand, shoot, do what he likes to do. I think that could be actually a really big pickup. I'm pretty shocked that, you know, the Lakers haven't gotten him already. I'm shocked that he's just not even on a team in general. I don't know why that is the case. I know a lot of people have been asking me. I don't necessarily know why Melo's not on a team, but I think out of those guys, you know, Kenneth Faried's a little bit too small to be playing that center position. We don't really need another power forward. And then Joakim Noah is just a little bit old, and I think, you know, he wouldn't really be able to bring that much to the table. He wouldn't be able to play too many minutes. So I think Carmelo Anthony, out of all of those players, is the best option for the Lakers, if that is the case. How much of an impact will Alex Caruso make this season? Okay, so Alex Caruso, you know, he's a guy, he can have a really big year this year. I know a lot of people don't really talk about him. He kind of always is that underdog, always flies under the radar. You know, even these last couple of years when he's been on the Lakers, he's been in and out of the G League. But the point of the matter is he's played really well for us. Every single time we've needed him, he's stepped up. And last season, we really saw him end the season really strong. And I'm expecting him to carry on that play throughout this season. And, you know, it was rumored a lot of this summer that a lot of teams were reportedly interested in him, but he decided to remain loyal with the Lakers and come back. But I truly believe, you know, when you're looking at all of the aspects of a point guard, when you're looking at the scoring, the defending, the assists, the everything, I think Alex Caruso could honestly be the best overall point guard player that we have on this roster. I know people are going to come at me for saying that, but I think Alex Caruso could really have a big year. We're just going to have to wait and see, you know, how he shows up in training camp, how he plays in the preseason. I'm sure he'll get some minutes. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to be our starting point guard opening night, but I think we could definitely see him. If he gets off to that strong start like how he finished last season, we could definitely see him even sliding in there and being that starting point guard for the Lakers down the line this season. At ByGDaddy2006 wants to know, for the preseason, what do you think will be the focus on, more on offense or defense, and what player needs to play the most this preseason? So I think most of the time, you know, going into the preseason, the main focus is always defense, just because that is really important as a whole team. The whole team needs to really come together in order to play defense well. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, this is such a new team with so many different players. Really, offense and defense is going to be the focal point this preseason. They're going to have to work on really everything. But I think if you are looking at it, you know, in most cases, defense is going to be the primary focus just for every team this preseason. And obviously, it's something that the Lakers have really struggled with these last few years in particular. But now that we have some really good defensive players like AD and Danny Green, Avery Bradley, you know, hopefully that's going to be able to change. So I think defense, in terms of what player is going to need to play the most during preseason, you know, I think AD and LeBron, they're going to play some in the preseason, obviously, but I don't think they're going to play too many minutes. I think the most important part of this preseason for us, it's not necessarily a specific player, but I think it's just in general, it's figuring out kind of this backcourt situation. You know, who's going to be that starting point guard? Is it going to be Rondo? Is it going to be Quinn Cook, Alex Caruso? Is it going to be LeBron James? You know, is, you know, Danny Green going to be our starting shooting guard? I think it's really going to have to be really finding who our backcourt is going to be, getting those backcourt kind of rotations down. I think that's going to be the most important this preseason. But again, obviously, you know, figuring out that defense, making sure we have a much better defensive season this year than we did last year. But I'm curious, what do you think should be the focal point for the Lakers this preseason, offense or defense? And you think offense, type O down below, or if you think defense, type D down below. Okay, now before we move on to some more of these final questions, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you have a FanDuel account? If you do not yet have one, go ahead and message me on my Instagram and or my Twitter right now, because I am starting my own NFL league and I would love to play with my Laker fam. So if you do not yet have a FanDuel account, go ahead and message me. I will explain to you how you can get one. Set one up. It is so easy. It is free. And then once you are in and logged in as a member of FanDuel, then you can come and join my NFL league. And I would love to play with my Laker fam. So go message me right now if you do not yet have a FanDuel account. But let's move on to some more of these questions. Next question is from @Ernie4LA. He asks, what are your predictions for this year? I'm assuming he means like, you know, record predictions, like wins and losses. I kind of touched on that a little bit in the first video, but I'm predicting the Lakers to hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed, that they have a great year, an injury-free year, everyone plays well, Kuz becomes that third star, Dwight Howard has, you know, a great breakout season again. He gets back to the Dwight Howard that he was a few years ago. There's no drama, everyone just loves playing together, and that we end up winning, you know, the NBA championship. That is what I would love to happen. Realistically, I know that ESPN has come out and said that the Lakers are going to win about 50, 51 games. I personally think that they can do better than that. I think they can win 54, 56 games. I think that's very realistic for them. Again, if everything I just listed, you know, the health, the chemistry, no drama, all that stuff happens, I think that's very realistic for them. I think they are definitely a top 5 seed. I even believe they are a top 3 seed. They could also be the number 1 seed. You know, just the Western Conference is so competitive. But regardless, I think the Lakers are going to have a really good year, and I'm very excited about it. @Tex Lone Ranger 420 wants to know, what do you think about Kobe finally giving Howard his blessing? I think it's great. You know, I mean, obviously Kobe Bryant's retired now. I think he has put all of that past trauma behind him, but I think it was nice to have him come out, give Dwight Howard his blessing. I know Dwight Howard, I'm sure, appreciates it. Maybe it'll give him a little bit of a boost of confidence going into this season, but I think it was nice. I don't think it's like the biggest deal. I know a lot of people are freaking out about it. I think, you know, Kobe's kind of, you know, turned the page on his NBA career, and he's not a really big drama guy, but I thought it was really nice, and I'm sure Howard really appreciated it. Okay, and then our last question for this part 2 of our Laker Mailbag Q&A Twitter edition, we have @ClipsRunLA. Not a big fan of your username, I gotta say, but he asks, who will be our starting 5? So this is obviously the biggest question. Everyone wants to know. We can obviously assume that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are for sure going to be in there. I would also assume that Danny Green is going to be our starting shooting guard. Now, whether or not Kyle Kuzma is going to get that starting spot is going to depend on if LeBron is our starting point guard, or if we are going to have Rajon Rondo as our starting point guard, Avery Bradley, who I would be a big fan of starting, and then of course, if Dwight Howard is going to be our starting center, or JaVale McGee is going to be our starting center. I don't really know what's going to happen. If I had it my way, I would say that I think the best starting lineup for us on opening night would be Avery Bradley as our point guard. Then we'd have Danny Green pairing up with him in the backcourt as our shooting guard. We'd have LeBron as that small forward, AD power forward, and then Dwight Howard as our starting center. But again, there are so many different options because the Lakers have such a deep team. It's really going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of training camp battles, a lot of preseason battles. There could be a lot of shakeups, and really we could see any player on our roster be a starter on opening night. So I am so excited. But that is going to be it for today's Twitter Q&A. Thank you guys so much for sending me in your questions. These are some great questions. I know you all are so excited for this season to start, as am I. We are so close. Training camp is only a couple weeks away, so I am so excited. But thank you again for watching. If you like this video and you love these Laker Mailbag Q&As, don't forget to give it a double thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe here on Chat Sports and the new Chat Sports Lakers YouTube channel as well. And give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter. And until next time, Laker Hand is out. Bye!